Hey guys, welcome to Rogue Reviews. My name's Nolan. I'm back with the video here talking about cinematic universes. I've had this on my mind a lot lately, especially with the release of The Mummy. So let's talk about cinematic universes and how I think studios can just do two things to massively improve all their cinematic universes. Let's all agree at first that these things are all the rage these days. And if you subscribe to the theory that everything goes around in cycles, it really is movies returning to their kind of movie serial roots. We used to have all these superheroes be low-budget movie serials that kids would come back once a week to see a new adventure. And that's kind of what these cinematic universes are, just on a much larger scale. But I feel like a lot of times these days, studios are really getting ahead of themselves. I mean, you got something like Universal's Dark Universe, that just they're announcing all these stuff even before the first movie comes out. You have Sony setting up a Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man. It just seems odd. Now, when it comes to cinematic universes, I think most people would agree that Marvel is the best run one. But let's take a look at two steps that studios can make that would really help improve how these cinematic universes are formed. Cinematic universes get way too ahead of themselves. So the first thing that they need to do, don't announce it's going to be a universe. Just start out making movies and then announce everything later. Let's take a look at Power Rangers. Power Rangers was a really good standalone movie. But before the film came out, the producers were saying how they have a 7-movie arc set up for this universe, which is great. I would love to see it. But the movie made no money at the box office. So fans that went to see the Power Rangers movie were really left disappointed knowing that we're probably never going to get a sequel, seeing how the movie made so little money. Now, if the studio hadn't announced that they had 7 other movies, most people would just be happy that we got a great Power Rangers movie. But instead, they put the wagon before the horse. DC had a problem with this a couple months ago, where they weren't official announcements, but the press was getting winds of all these movies they had in development, with directors coming and going. It didn't seem like they had a solid plan for their future. Now, it seems like with the release of Wonder Woman and Justice League, they're taking their foot off the gas to see how Justice League does and how they should move forward, which is smart. DC has started to really come around in how they approach their cinematic universe. Even Marvel, the best-run cinematic universe, has had some hiccups. They announced a slate that included an Inhumans movie, which now is a IMAX-produced TV show. So even Marvel isn't 100% on how they release their information. It's all about timing, and when is the right time to release this information. Let's take an example of The Rock. The Rock, years ago, was cast as Black Adam in the DC Cinematic Universe. We have yet to see him as Black Adam almost 4 years later. It all goes back to how you time out the release of this information, and I feel like studios need to tighten up and be smarter where they release this information and how. Make the universe a byproduct of the movies. Don't have the movies be a byproduct of the universe. Now, what I mean by this, just make good movies that fit together in the same universe and not worry about a universe being fit together by all these movies. Recent example of this, non-spoiler, The Mummy. The movie felt like a long setup getting to the dark universe, more than just a good Mummy movie. And this is a very dangerous move, especially with The Mummy underperforming at the box office. It's killing it overseas, but at the domestic box office, it's really underperforming. And now the Dark Universe might be in trouble. This happens a lot in Hollywood, where movies are just a long setup for the sequel, and not just focus on being good movies themselves. Studios need to do a better job of making sure they're just making a good movie overall, with little tie-ins here and there to hint at a much larger world. In my opinion, Marvel and DC did a really good job with both their starts to their cinematic universe. Let's take a look at Marvel. You had Iron Man, which was just a great standalone movie with a contained story with a post-credit scene that hinted at a larger world. Man of Steel also did this. A great Superman standalone movie with hints here and there that maybe there's something bigger in this universe, and how they tied it into Batman vs. Superman was showing Batman's point of view at the end battle of Man of Steel. I thought was a great way to organically tie it in to a cinematic universe. Marvel and DC aren't blameless when they get their cart ahead of the horse by setting up sequels in their movies. Let's take a look at Avengers 2 Age of Ultron. While most people like the movie, it's myself included, the most head-scratching scene was that out-of-left-field Thor scene where he gets laid in like that hot tub in a cave and has all these visions, and it just seemed so out of place. Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel, said that scene will tie into Thor. Joss Whedon, director of Avengers 2, also said he wasn't the biggest fan of that scene, but he had to put it in there per Marvel. Now I feel like that scene kind of derailed the movie. Setting up another movie that comes out 2.5 years later, it just doesn't make sense. Now that wasn't the only problem with Avengers 2, but I feel like if they had a scene more relevant to the stakes that were going on at that point in the movie, it would have been a better film overall. Let's take an example in the X-Men universe of how these standalone movies can happen and organically set up sequels as a byproduct of a great film. Take a movie that was just released this year, Logan. Great standalone movie, fantastic ending. But if they announced tomorrow that Daphne Keane was coming back as X-23 to continue that story, I would not hate that idea. Because while they made a fantastic film, I would love to see where these characters go next, instead of them just leaving the door wide open at the end. This is something that also happens a lot in the X-Men universe, where they don't really care about continuity, just good filmmaking. Now, you can go back and forth on the quality of these X-Men movies, X-Men 3, X-Men, Apocalypse, especially X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now, I'm not saying all cinematic universe should forsake continuity to make good stories. No, I think you can do both. But it's got to be about making good stories first and telling good stories that people will be interested in to organically set up your universe. Alright guys, what do you guys think of cinematic universes? Are they just a passing fad, or are they here to stay? And what do you guys think studios should do more of in setting up these universes? Make sure to leave your comments below, and as always, make sure to subscribe to Rogue Reviews for more awesome content in the future. Alright guys, I'll see you guys later.